How do you successfully prepare for emergencies when you add advancing years or disabilities to your list of challenges? Hi, I'm Jonathan.
And Kylene Jones, and we are the Provident Preppers. Prepping can be a challenge, but when you add the unique circumstances that accompany advancing years or mental or physical disabilities, it can seem overwhelming.
In this video, we'll share some ideas that we hope will help you as you take on prepping with disabilities.
Prepping for a family can be a challenge. When you add physical or mental limitations to that challenge, it can become overwhelming. A disability does not prevent you from being able to survive a disaster. It means that you prepare in the same way as everyone else, and you include special accommodations designed to help your unique circumstances. As a general rule, age tends to bring a variety of new limitations with it.
Yes, it does, and I sure feel it. It is important that we recognize the limitations that we have, and recognize that some of those may not be permanent. Some of those can be improved with diet or with exercise or medication, whatever it may be. And it is also possible that some limitations may come upon us because of some event that will yet happen. We need to do everything in our power to manage and improve the situation if possible.
My mother-in-law is amazing. She loves to sew and do crafts, and she creates all kinds of wonderful bottled goods. But those bottles are getting heavy for her now. And so she recognizes that limitation and solves it by inviting her grandson over to use his big, strong muscles to haul those cases of bottles around for her. And then she gives him little goodies. It works well for everyone. You may be limited to walking 3,000 steps a day, or you may not be able to walk at all. Or like me, some days you can walk and other days, it's just not something you can do. It's really important that we take into account our loved one's mobility status. Remember that many of the threats that we face may be accompanied by a power outage. Non-electric options are important to consider. I have a friend who gets around in an electric scooter at home and an electric golf cart in the neighborhood. Solar panels and backup batteries can help her maintain her current level of activity during an extended grid down event. You may want to consider stocking up on some different items, even if you are not to the point in your life where you may need them, because a wheelchair, walker, or walking cane, crutches, anything that can help you be a little bit more mobile may come in handy in the future. Some of us have ongoing treatment or medication that is really important to our survival. It's important that we take into account these unique circumstances and explore different possibilities of how we might be able to manage that during some type of an event. And this is our poor Kenny. Often we don't think of severe allergies as a disability, but let me tell you, when her allergies act up, she cannot do anything and she is incredibly miserable. So we have done what we could to help eliminate those allergies and recognize what things she's allergic to, and we stock all the medications that she might need to be able to control those allergies.
There are many medical devices that are important to sustain life. These devices are useless if we don't have the power to make them work. This can often be taken care of with a small battery backup system. Most of these include solar panels to help recharge that system.
But they could also be recharged using a generator for a short period of time.
Right, exactly.
Stock up on critical medications. If you are dependent on any medication to maintain your physical or mental health, it's important that you have a backup supply. Go to our post, Prepping with Elderly and Disabled Loved Ones, to learn more about how you might be able to accomplish this. And then personalize your food storage. Food storage is not a one-size-fits-all. Think about these important questions. Can you easily access your stored foods? Okay, if you are in a wheelchair and your food storage is downstairs, how are you going to get to it? And that might mean that you have a buff grandson who's willing to go down there and get it for you. You have to have a plan. Can you lift the container? A 5-gallon bucket of wheat or beans can just be way too heavy for some of us to lift. And can you open the container? Can you take a can opener and open the number 10 cans? Or can you pry that lid off of a plastic bucket? Only store the foods that you have the ability to open, in one way or another. And can you prepare the food? Is your physical condition such that you need to store freeze-dried foods that you just add water to? Or can you cook dry beans? And have you taken into account food allergies and restrictions? When times get hard, that doesn't mean that suddenly your allergies or your dietary limitations go away. So plan your food storage accordingly. The same thing goes for your water storage. You need to be able to access it. Dehydration can very quickly cause huge issues, especially in those that are already compromised. Make sure that the containers that you store your water in are light enough that you can lift them. Think about how you are going to access it in those larger containers. Titan Ready's hydrant water storage system is a good example of a system that doesn't require any lifting. The spout is right there on the bottom. You can put your container of any size underneath that spout, turn it on, and then turn it off. This water system is very easy to rotate because you just put that hose in the top and flush out the old water. So it's designed so that there's no heavy lifting involved. And the same thing goes with filtering clean drinking water. Make sure that your filter is something that you can use. A life straw is not a good idea for a compromised individual. If you've ever tried to use one, you have to suck really hard to get that water through it. And many of us just don't have that kind of strength. So a gravity filter, in my opinion, is a great solution. And I would choose a smaller one. If you look at the photo on the right, you've got those 2 5-gallon buckets, which that kind of filtration system can work really well. However, it's heavy. For me, it's not the best solution. But the Berkey water filter that's just to the left, that's the smallest gravity filter that they make, I'm pretty sure. And you just pour that water in the top, and it only holds 1 gallon, but then you access it at the bottom. And for me, it's a very easy way to filter the water. It doesn't require me to be able to lift.
Consider the importance of safe lighting. Falls can be tremendously dangerous, especially for those who have disabilities, but for any of us. Make sure you have good lighting that doesn't require the use of fuels that can be dangerous or heavy.
And take some time to practice with your light sources, because it needs to be light enough for you to lift, and you need to have the physical dexterity to be able to turn it on, to change those batteries, or whatever you need to do to make that light source work. You need to physically be able to do that. I love the creativity with this alternative toilet option. What they've done is taken a bucket toilet, which can, quite frankly, be dangerous for any of us to sit on, whether or not we have any issues, and suddenly turned it into something that's very stable. They took a camp chair and they cut the seat out of the bottom. So when you sit down in that camp chair, it just sits you perfectly on that bucket toilet. You have the armrest to be able to lower yourself down onto it and to help you stand back up without making that bucket toilet fall over. And then this one's really cool because you have all the supplies that you need right there handy. And so when you're looking at alternative toilet options, this is a good one. Also, bedside commodes are specially designed for people that are not as stable. And they have those wonderful little bags in there that will solidify the waste that you can just throw away. Those are 2 good alternative toilet options for people who have a little bit more difficulty than most of us. Compromised individuals are highly sensitive to temperature changes. Whenever there's a heat wave and a power outage, it's always the elderly and those that are compromised that die in those types of scenarios. Likewise, the cold, the bitter cold, healthy, strong people can handle it much better than someone like me can handle it. Whenever you have a compromised loved one, make sure that you make special arrangements to keep the temperature in a safe range.
Evacuation takes on a whole new meaning if you have disabilities or limitations that keep you from being mobile. In many cases, it may be better to find a way not to have to evacuate.
And be realistic. If I'm in a wheelchair, there's no way that I'm going to be able to bug out to a mountain location. I could bug out to a neighboring city, to somebody's home that has all of the accommodations that I need. Just be realistic. We have some friends who generously agreed to help us research this a little bit. And this is one of them. His name is Kenneth, and he is a master prepper. He has a military background, but now has limited mobility, and he's unable to lift over 10 pounds. Kenneth says, "So my first and most important thing I need to deal with is refrigeration or some other method to keep my meds cold, but not frozen. The need for this started 19 years ago, and that got me into solar energy and being able to use and store electricity to power a small 12-volt cooler to put my meds in. This solar energy also powers a 12-volt fan by my bedside and charges batteries for a portable fan. In addition, Ken has designed his food storage to take into account his allergies. This is John, and John has mild cerebral palsy. He has trouble walking long distances. One of his goals is to be able to get a group of like-minded preppers together so that when disaster strikes, they can take care of each other. He's working on perfecting his camping skills and other basic skills, and he reminds us that skills are the most important because nobody can take them away from you, and they do not have any weight, so he can take them anywhere. Anne's plan. So I don't have a picture of Anne, but she is pretty ingenious. Anne Bear for Freedom commented that because I need to allow access to paramedics if I fall, I must leave a key available outside. So on my back patio, I have a teeny sandbox with Hot Wheel cars driving in it. I have wired a key to the back door under the Hot Wheel fire truck ambulance. Obvious to the fire department, but just a kid's sandbox with toys to would-be intruders. Anne is pretty ingenious. She's a stroke survivor, and she is wheelchair bound, and she likes to prep 3 or 4 steps ahead. She has a bedside commode that she has the ability to transfer in and out of, and she has literally a cajillion liner bags. That's a lot of bags. And boxes of turn waste to gel packets because it is much easier for her to haul a bag of gel with a wheelchair. And she has a burn barrel in the backyard because she has no way to dig a hole to bury the bags, which she realizes creates an odor discipline problem. She doesn't have this solved 100% yet, but she's working on it. And I am so proud of her for trying so hard to take care of her needs with the limitations that she has. And this is Anna Lee. She is one tough woman who is battling cancer right now. And she asked me what she could do to help be better prepared regardless of her current challenges. And I think that's something that we all really need to look at. How are we going to be prepared, taking into account whatever specific challenges we have? And that's one of the reasons why we wrote the post, Prepping with Elderly and Disabled Loved Ones. Because we want to get you thinking.
Your situations are unique to you, and we will provide all the information we can to help. However, you are the authority on your situation, and with your creative genius, you can find the solutions to get you through whatever challenge may arise. We invite you to Google the Provident Prepper, Prepping with Elderly and Disabled Loved Ones. Also, we have a couple of our videos that we encourage you to look at. Preppers Without Partners, for those of you who may be going it alone. And Bugging Out or Bugging In, which provides you lots of information about whether you stay or whether you go.
I have a disability that requires us to make special accommodations to make sure that my unique needs are met. However, I have skills and abilities that contribute to the success of the entire family. Working together, we can take care of each other and make sure that we can face the challenges that are in our future.
And now for the question of the day. Do you have anyone in your family that requires special accommodations for emergencies? Share your wisdom and comment below. And thanks for being part of the solution.